You ready for part two? Season 6, episode 1, plate of the day. For radical girls, when taxing the rich isn't enough.
God, this is delicious.
I definitely want to taste that.
So, this topic for me, like I said, like y'all are to me such leaders in the conversation around what is actually radical. Like even when people use the term like, oh, abolition, like some people use it and they don't even really know what the fuck they're talking about, right? And I feel like y'all are people that even when you don't like agree with a certain perspective or way of being, you do your research so that you actually understand what it is that you're not fucking with just as much as you do your research so you actually understand what it is that you fuck with. And so, you know, I wanted to dig deeper into this conversation because, again, I think that part of what was happening in the podcasting space that I was speaking to earlier was that everybody was like using this rewashed opinion about the same topic and like having people on who are also talking about the topic in the same rewashed way because everybody is ready to be radical, but everybody wants to be radical in the United States white supremacist playpen. And it's like you can't really have both. And I think it's important to just own that and name that so that we can start to understand like what are the actual options and like what does it actually mean to organize around the social issues. So I wanted to start by asking you guys just that, like, what is your perception or relationship with the way people organize around social issues, both speaking to things like Black Lives Matter and like pink hat wearing women and even fashion at Gala versus different approaches and things that y'all have seen as pathways. And y'all can keep it all the way real.
Okay. Can I go first?
Please, yeah.
Okay. So, like, I would say the first step is to recognize within yourself whether, like, you're a revolutionary or a reformist.
Mm-hmm.
And
what's
Can
you
explain? I'm sorry. That requires having a very, very deep understanding of all kinds of definitions. Right. I was going to say that first in general. If you want to be, at the very least, if you want to be radical, you have to be strict. And it doesn't mean being stubborn. There's a difference between being strict. Strict is malleable. Strict understands where adjustment is necessary. You know what I'm saying? Like stubborn is just like you're a wall, right? But end of the day, you have to be adherent to definition. You know, as we were talking, as I mentioned, abolitionist, right? When we grow up and learn about what the abolitionists did, you somehow in your mind connected what they understood their movement to be colloquially as the definition. When, if you want to be radical, you'll go straight to the actual definition of abolish and not get those words minced in any sense. Understand? So then you go to trying to decide or figure out whether you're a revolutionary or a reformist. And being really strict about definition, you'll understand the difference in those words just because of what it means, right? And because of how those words are formed in and of themselves. Do you want to explain the difference in those definitions?
Sure, yeah. Reformism is that you necessarily don't mind the system as it exists. You want to make things function better for everyone in the system, so everyone has a level of comfort that is like above poverty, and you can more easily be socially mobile and like and climb and have access to education and healthcare and all those things of that nature. What the caveat of that is that colonialism, capitalism, harmful things by nature still exist even around that. In my opinion, it's just like reformers want to make the prison more comfortable. Like, can we get some IKEA furniture up in here? Can we get like some
Raymore and Flanagan?
Yeah.
Raymond Flanagan, something.
This is Raymond Flanagan. That should be like a clip, like just that.
They need to pay y'all for that.
Being revolutionary is the act of wanting to completely destroy and overturn the existing system, and the willingness to follow through afterwards and create a new and better one that involves the like-minded people that want access and better life, and just a stripping of colonialism, so they have their own self-determination, their own resources, their own land, and they're in control of that, and whatever they want to do with that is what they want to do, as opposed to it being imposed upon them.
Right.
And it takes a lot to decide where you are, because there are consequences. I don't know, for lack of a better word.
It's true. That's right. There's consequences
for whichever one you
choose,
choose,
of both. Mm-hmm.
and recourse on both. And you just got to decide, what's the weight you're willing to carry.
Yeah,
it's very true.
And it's I was sorry.
No, go ahead.
For a long time, I was like, "Oh, we need both." But the truth is, nothing will ever change. Nothing will ever earnestly change. In reform, we'll just get more comfortable and more blind to the shits as we become more comfortable, because it's a trade-off, because we're still in a complex where one group owns the means of production, controls the land, says what you can do and can't do on the land, etc. So it's still prison.
Yeah.
Whereas in revolutionizing things, you have not to say that there's not sacrifice, but you have to be willing to pay the ultimate sacrifice. Can't say that on usually
right.
So,
but facts.
You know,
and just to give a visual context to the idea of a really comfortable cage. You still in jail if you have a ankle bracelet at the Ritz and can't order room service without paying your own money. You're still in jail. So it's you've got to really understand that making a cage comfortable could be cute, but it's what reformists have a hard time understanding, and I'm struggling currently with trying to not make anybody who is a reformist feel guilty for that decision, or for coming to that understanding, at least. But end of the day, what you as a reformist have to understand, and at least if you want to be a reformist that's not delusional, is that your reform can't be for as everybody as you think it would be, or as for everybody as you would ideally have it be. And if you want to be a reformist, be okay with reforming things for yourself, because being a reformist is a selfish decision, and it's okay, because there's not enough people out here, in my opinion, currently, that are actually moving in revolution or willing to turn on that revolutionary switch. I've said this in multiple situations. I will never forgive y'all for missing that opportunity when we first went to lockdown. I'll never forgive everybody. Never. But even if we get free 2 years from now, I'm still gonna be pissed.
It was a grand opportunity. The moment was right.
Yeah, it was right.
What was we on? And we could have did it without whatever fight that could be coming 2 years down the line.
Just stop working.
Come on.
Just stop.
That shit was I'm so fucking upset.
We're not going.
But end of the day, be okay in that decision, because being a revolutionary in this time, as long as in terms of being a revolutionary in all the way practice, right? You're martyring yourself in these times. You need more people. You just need more people. And if we can get 80% of this country, the entire world could be free. if we can get 80% of this country to literally be like, we're gonna choose freedom instead of like a comfortable cage, then the entire world could just like snap into freedom, and it would still be hard in that free moment, but we would be fucking free.
Right.
And in all of the struggle that came after that freedom came, we'd have the opportunity to make the life that we really want to make within this free shit. Because I swear, anytime I see that that fucking meme with the orangutan looking at us crazy for paying to live, I'm like, you motherfucking orangutan. If you don't switch fucking places with me, you asshole. How dare you judge me?
Yeah, and I think that like that it's important for and it's something that I've said several times. Like, you gotta know when you too pussy. Like, if it's really that you pussy, and
I didn't want to say it.
You know,
I didn't want to say it.
You just gotta know you pussy.
Julissa,
like,
you just gotta know. You just gotta know when you put and look. You just gotta know when what them testicles ain't been through enough. You just have to know when them testicles ain't been tried. Because if you don't know that you don't have the stones and you come into the revolution, you're gonna be spooked, hun.
Yeah.
Because it's real out in these streets. Even as a person that like there's even as a person in shift, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if I could ever be a reformist. That sounds crazy, you know. But I know I can milk whatever the reformist is doing.
Right.
If y'all doing it and they allow it, then cute. I'm gonna milk that if they'll allow it, because I'm not even fighting y'all no more. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that a lot of the things that are happening even needs to be said.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Go ahead. No. Please.
I was just gonna say we encounter so many people that say, "Oh, we know," and it's like, okay. So you know, and what we're saying has no purpose in your life because you know that it is what it is. And your issue is that nobody else is doing it. And you see 10 other people commenting the same thing. And then 15 other people replying on each of those comments saying the same thing. And then you don't, in your mind at some point, not that you had to investigate all of those numbers. You know what I'm saying, had to come to the page and come into this. You saw those numbers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? At no point did you think, well, damn, if literally every one of us switched to that other perspective, I wonder.
Right. Motherfuckers is just scared to die. Motherfuckers are afraid to be hungry and without finance. Like, there's just like, they've done a great job. And the narrative, and gosh, this is the beast of like colonialism. Like, it literally got the recipe right back in the whatever hundreds. And as the world evolved, that recipe has not needed to. It has not needed to. And I think that the you know, when people talk about like generational trauma and how like people's bodies and cells literally hold on to like certain traumas over and over, I you know, it's hard for me to not believe that, yeah, like a part of the reason why we're so scared is because they got it right the first time. But like, if we can sit here and say that, like, what is our fear in engaging at least in organized dialogue, right? Like, at least in to your point, like saying, all right, thread of people on Facebook who see the point. Let's talk, like, let's just put ourselves in the thought exercise. And what happens out of the thought exercise? Because even if, and what I'm getting at is like, I wonder if this is not the most effective way at all, in any way, shape, or form, but like a part of me even wishes that reformists would be like, all right, motherfuckers, we reformists, but we gonna reform with intention of revolution and really, really deep radicalism to pave some way with y'all, so that whatever, if we talk about like a trickle down, if all this fucking like ass whooping and ass kissing that we do to not be hungry and not get shot, right? Like, if in some ways we can be really strategic and intentional about laying foundational groundwork for those who are willing to be with the shits, like, what is that and what does that look like, and how we even entertain that conversation? And
the ancestors thought voting would do that.
Which is what I have been deeply confronted with, the reality.
And
it's not.
It's not. And it's not that you try one thing and then think nothing will work, but it is. if literally the thing that is supposed to be the foundation by which this government stands, democracy, is not a thing that works, at the very least in your favor, it doesn't work at all. But at the very least, if it will not work in your favor, then you must realize that there's nothing about the system that will actually work in your favor, and everything in the system that feels like it works in your favor is working to just keep you trapped in the system. And that is just how you have to see it. There's no way to be a revolutionary reformist. There's a way to be a revolutionary and live. Because really a revolutionary is a person with an understanding. People want to put revolutionaries in this action place, and it's like a revolutionary knows that they can't do anything alone. A revolutionary's read history and is versed in history enough to know that there's no fucking way in hell that they're doing any of this shit by themselves, and that at the end of the day, naming themselves a revolutionary and acting accordingly in their daily life, as they do indeed go and make a check that's going to be taxed in a way that's going to fuck shit up for everyone and all kinds of shit. You know what I'm saying? It puts a target on their head.
Yeah.
So revolutionaries will walk around with a target. At the very least, being a revolutionary is a target on your head. And if you don't got that, then you can't claim it. And it's not a badge of honor. It's an understanding with a heavy price, bro. Understanding with a heavy price. And you've got to, at the very least, if you're going to choose it, or if you're going to allow it to enter your understanding, you are free. And get this early in your young revolutionary birth. You are free to still choose yourself. Don't make you a reformist. Now, if you still gonna vote and you're a revolutionary, then you're just a reformist. Like,
you're a reformist, yeah.
But if a vote goes in a way that you're gonna go, like if a stimulus is coming in your bank account, spend that bitch.
Right.
And you don't have to hang up your revolutionary motherfucking like sickle. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to hang it up because you spent that You have bills, my nigga. You don't got to be on the street to be a revolutionary. You don't got to be on couches to be a revolutionary. You don't got to be supported by the people to be a revolutionary. You can support yourself, nigga. You can have the government support you. You want Section 8? Great. I know there's a manifesto in your mind.
And like when they say like supported by the people, in the sense that they're like financing your lifestyle.
Right.
Not like
uplifted and people like
message.
you. Yeah.
Right.
But like financially supported by the people in any regard, whether it be couches or them sending you like every single bit of their money. You don't need that.
That's how a lot of so-called
revolutionaries
are moving out there in these streets today. But that's another story.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like there's no, and this could be, it's probably very intentional. Like, I feel like there's no clear platform in which people can observe and learn from the actions of actual revolutionaries in that way. And so what they believe about revolutionaries is actually the same people doing the same rhetoric, the same motherfuckers who got them voting, got them believing a certain thing about revolutionaries that just isn't true. And so when we think about revolutionary, everybody's like, yeah, what the fuck I'm about to do? Like, I'm a dad. Like, I have 2 kids. I can't fucking be out here fucking what? Shooting people, or they'll see protesters and be like looting. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's not ethical. And so, like, how could you claim wanting to call somebody out on their ethics and you out here burning shit and stealing shit? And it's just like there's so many layers to it.
Don't get me started on the fucking like the fucking business shit. Liberate, and yes, I'm sorry, it's so fucking difficult. I'm trying, babe. Liberate the things from the stores.
Yeah.
Take them. Take them now. Listen to the sound of my voice. Can we reverse it? Take them. Take them. There's too many reasons, and I'm not getting into the reasons. But take them. It's yours. I keep saying this. I've been saying this too many times. All of this seize the means of production shit is that old school bullshit, and it only works for Russia because they were literally talking about factories and shit. Fucking, we are literally your body. The machine that is your flesh is the means of production in this motherfucker. Mm-hmm. To seize it, what do you think you have to do? You have to literally make a decision. And yes, you cannot make this decision alone. You have to first, of course, understand and get, again, that's why being a revolutionary is an understanding. You have to understand all of that shit and then be like, I get it. Do you get it? No, really, you get it? All right, we get it. All right, do y'all get it? Mm-hmm. Okay, we get it. And then until that web is spanning over 80% of this motherfucking country, then y'all make a decision at the same time to be like, all right, so we're going to sit the fuck down.
It don't even have to be 80% legitimately, because like if you think about it, the military is only like 0.02% of the population.
The reason I say 80% is because what people are concerned about, and it is literally only to assuage their concern, and like the fact of that, will never do it for whatever reason. With 80% of the population no longer paying rent, who are they kicking out where? Mm-hmm. Oh, so everybody's on the street? Great. Yo, homeboy, remember that house that you built over there? Yeah, ain't that the house that you used to live at? Yeah, ain't that the house that you own? Yeah, so get that wood, because since they don't want us on that land no more, get that wood. They kicked us out on the street. We're going to build directly in the middle of this motherfucking road.
Right.
And ain't that the case for you over there too? You. Great. Let's move all them houses right in the middle of this motherfucking road. Ain't nobody that would use this road going to work anyway.
Yeah.
What would they do? And when you think about what they would do, yes, that is your government.
They would kill you.
Yes, they would.
They would kill you.
What you gonna do? At the end of the day, they can and will do it at will regardless, and we see it on a regular basis. You don't have to do shit. You can literally do everything they asked you to do. Niggas in suits die. Mm-hmm. Niggas with degrees die. Oprah couldn't get into a jeweler in motherfucking Switzerland or wherever the fuck she was because she was black. That bitch knew who Oprah was. You trying to tell me she ain't know who Oprah was?
Right, lies.
Oprah just opened a school down the block. Mm-hmm. You telling me she don't know who Oprah is? She knows. But no, bitch, I can't. My boss literally said that no black. You know what I'm saying? Just if we want to be empathetic of employees, right? My boss literally does not want any black people in here. I don't care, but like, girl, right. My job, girl, you gotta go. He's not here to make that decision, girl. If he comes and makes that decision, then we on another thing. I'll tell you what you want at triple the price.
Right.
But until then, you gotta go. And she was livid. Mm-hmm. Well, doesn't matter what tax bracket you're in.
Right.
You're still in jail.
Yeah. And it's so interesting, even being in the space of being an entrepreneur right now and trying to figure out how I'm gonna best navigate the fact that I think it's fucking stupid that I gotta put together a deck to sell somebody an idea that, of course, it makes sense. Of course, it's a great idea. It's pointing to a lot of things, a lot of problems that people don't want to solve in the ways that we can solve them, because then other people make less money if we solve it that way versus this way, right? And I would be more specific if I can't talk about the project itself, but like just knowing like that it's like, damn, part of what I'm trying to build is trying to help people build a practice of self-check-in and self-awareness, so that like when you are in the constant practice of asking yourself, you know, where am I at actually? Like when people ask, oh, how you doing? And you feel like, whoa, that's a loaded question. And like that, like overdrive that happens, like how can we build tools and like build habits for people where that doesn't need to be overdrive because they're in the constant practice of centering themselves and choosing themselves in a way where like they can answer that question because they've checked in with themselves. And when people have that level of clarity, what does that do for their mood? What does that do for the way that they lead their lives, let alone lead a business or a country or whatever the fuck right structure you want to put on it. And so it's like that's a great idea. But if I don't have data from X amount, blah, 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 that proves that if people do this, it'll give them a good result. Or if I don't say, oh, and if people are in better moods, they're going to be better employees and then companies can retain them and blah, blah, blah. And then suddenly, if that's not the selling point, then nobody wants to give me fucking money to do this shit. Nobody wants to give me money. And so the idea, like, and I've been struggling with this because like, I am a reformist, like regrettably though, but I am, right, categorically, and the way I show up in the world, that's I fit that definition. It's where I'm at, and so it's hard because during this time where I agree we had such a huge opportunity to really make some fucking decisions collectively that people couldn't have been. We didn't need to start COVID in order to put ourselves in the position where rent could be paid. It's not like we had to do that, right? So like, you figure it the fuck out. You know what I mean? Like really like putting the onus on them. And then it would have gotten to the point where y'all are trying to kill us out of our apartments because then we need to have that conversation. And the same motherfuckers who are like, no, don't burn down the stores. You need to see that they're about to burn down the whole shit and know how to protect themselves because they have that plan in place. You don't have your plan in place.
Exactly. You over here worried about somebody's motherfucking store that is insured. And if it's not, oh my God, what were you thinking? Yeah. You had merchandise in that motherfucker the whole time? What's wrong with you? I'm not even the best at my business chops, I'm constantly trying to improve my business chops every day. You know what I'm saying? Don't motherfucking come for me because I have my other ways. But nonetheless, I be trying to improve my business chops on a regular basis. And even my ass knows if the merch itself and the motherfucking place in which that merch is being sold on a regular is not insured, what are you doing there? There are niggas walking around in there? Yeah. What? Mm-hmm. So trust me, they got it. They are okay. They're going to be fine. Repairs will be okay. They're going to get the loan. They're going to repay it because people like your dumb ass is going to go back over there and buy triple because you're like, oh, I remember seeing y'all on the news and I'm so glad that you're back in business. Yeah. I don't give a fuck who owns that business or what color they are. It's still all a part of the same monster. And it's like, if you want to try to be discriminate, by all means, be discriminate. Go for the palm coloreds. You know what I'm saying? If you want to go for them. And their businesses alone, if you can be that discerning yourself. Don't ask people who are still essentially being looted from their resources by people who are entrepreneuring in that way, specifically retail and merchandise, to have to be discerning about who they fucking take their shit back from. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That's similar to that Dave Chappelle shit. How dare you ask people to fucking pay into fucking you in order to prove that they believe in the shit that you fucked up on? That's ridiculous.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. And I want to, because you guys have covered a lot here. I feel like I wonder if someone is listening to this and they're like, okay, fuck, I'm a reformist. I don't want to be a reformist anymore, right? Like, I don't want to be a reformist.
I'm sitting here like, I know I'm pussy. Like,
Look.
Like what if any, like outside of, because you said a few things, right? Like there's the literal education of like terminology and understanding what the fuck you're even talking about, right? Like there's that, the research. But let's say I've read all the stuff, I'm so pussy, right? Like what other things might you recommend, or like what advice do you have for folks who are reformists who literally are just, scared, but understand and believe and want to support, more importantly, what y'all are doing, but don't know how? And even if the end is the answer, there's no way unless they become a revolutionary.
So, do your Kegels. Get your pussy up. Beyond Kegling, so I feel that as long, again, we need numbers. Niggas need numbers. And if you are at a point where you are a reformist and you see you have a revolutionary understanding, but you can't commit what people would call class suicide and can't bring yourself to that, which would be like literally like losing your job and like being like, well, the chips is going to fall where they may. I'm gonna eat how I eat, and etc. Then by all means find somebody you know is a revolutionary and levy your petty bourgeoisie dreams and aspirations to support them in whatever way that they need. Whether that be boosting their platform, whether that be donating to them and to donating to their platform specifically, whether that be making sure they're on your platform, whether that be if you see a revolutionary and you know them personally, and you feel safe around them, and you know they need a motherfucking couch, if that's a couch, and if you, because here's the thing, like until the people happen, revolutionaries need your belief more than anything. And if you believe in somebody so much that you're like, you know what, I know that you know what the fuck is up. I don't necessarily know that anybody's going to listen, but I know that you know what the fuck is up. And if you find that thing that people going to listen to is going to pop, and you can literally let them living on your couch until they find it, then be that motherfucker. Be radical enough and revolutionary enough to be that motherfucker and not judge that person for not being able to bring themselves to be a tax-paying individual. Like, for a revolutionary, that is a very heavy burden to bear. And I would say the thing that definitely makes the difference between a revolutionary and a reformist is feeling that burden. If you don't feel that burden whatsoever, if literally you can't at all identify it with it being a burden, and you're just like, look, like, I'm doing what I gotta do, and there's no part of you, not even the smallest whisper on your right shoulder, like, but the people in Libya are losing. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know, you know what I'm saying? Even if you don't know, there's something in your blood knows, because something in your blood is literally going through it overseas. So something in your blood knows and has whispered to you. And if you don't feel that, then use a reformist. But if you feel some level of guilt towards it, again, nobody telling you to stop. Can't tell you to commit the class suicide. But if you feel that oof, Lord have mercy. Well, how much they took? I'm gonna take $200. Shit, that's going to the prison system this way, most likely. That's probably 10% of that's going literally to motherfucking Afghanistan. This is going here. You know what I'm saying? And even if you are completely incorrect in how your funds are being delegated, you're right about somebody's funds. And that's the part that makes it crazy. So if you know somebody that cannot bring themselves to be a tax-paying individual, and you can offer them a couch for the rest of their life and bring yourself to that, or at least until you can handle them as an individual, I'd at least give you that, because personalities are personalities. Please radicalize yourself in doing that.
Yeah. Rather than opening a fucking clubhouse room and arguing for hours about nothing and going around talking about, let me not say nothing. I almost said something. I'm like, I'm not even gonna get no smoke from nobody about no.
I do have a question that came to mind while I was listening to you guys. Do we think that there will be more revolutionaries in like the youth? When I think about like my experience with working with kids and stuff like that, I find like they tend to be, I don't know, but they have like the world at their fingertips in terms of like information. So do we think that could transfer into like there being more revolutionary youth, or there being more revolutionary actions because of their access to knowledge and shit like that?
I'm gonna say that's a hard no. I feel like especially the generation like alpha kids, like the kids that are like in elementary school, like now, like in like some that are the kids that are in middle school are like Generation Z kids. They do not see, like, because they have the world at their fingertips, they have a foreseeable. They definitely feel the imminent doom of it all.
Yeah.
And like they don't see like a few. They're like, what fucking
Exactly.
future? Like we see what y'all fucking do with this shit. You will be lucky if we get old. And it like I can't say it's not the truth because there's a fucking plague going around.
Yeah.
And it's like, do I see them being more revolutionary? No. I don't like. I honestly don't know what to make of it. Actually, I've never experienced it, but it's like it's not radicalized. Like it's not like, oh, like fuck this shit. They're like,
they're
here.
more like apathetic to it.
Yeah.
Right.
They're
And
more apathetic to it.
there and in that apathy lies a potential revolutionary spark that I can't help but see, because I do work with artists. So, you know, like artists are different, you know what I'm saying? Like, so the thing is, I know my kid's gonna be revolutionary. I know the kids that I encounter that especially are indeed artists are already there, because that apathy is anger already. And it's not that I'm here chief anger, you know what I'm saying? Sure, I'm, you know, people think I'm angry, and I mean, like, look, is you looking like, I hope you're angry too. So they're angry. I had to literally level with my kids. There's, you know, I do after school, so it's a little different in terms of like what's expected, but I had to level with them. I'm like, look, I'm not here to make y'all do something that y'all not wanting to do. Like, I understand everything that occurred. I literally say, I know y'all literally looking at everybody like, why are we even still doing this? Why am I in school right now? What even is a future? What's a tomorrow? And literally when I said that, they were all like let out a collective deep sigh, niggas.
But that's
were you deep sighing with the girls at 12?
Right. I think that's why that's what kind of like sparked the idea that maybe there might be a chance of more revolutionary action from them, because they see how bullshit this shit is.
It would be revolutionary inaction.
Yeah.
And no tea, no shade, that's what I'm asking for. But they, like, I don't know if the thing that I understand that Pat is concerned about when it comes to like it not becoming revolutionary action is that, like, if it's only revolutionary inaction, there will only be casualty.
Right.
If they cannot find a reason to fight, which they do not have right now, they understand that none of this shit matters, and they would rather it all be over. So they might reach adulthood and literally look at a job application and be like, fuck that shit. And then boom, everything is done. Right? But how old are we going to be as millennials? We're not going to be old enough to be like, and now we got to take on the mantle and fight. And we're not going to be young enough for that. If they're not looking at the enemy as their enemy, I don't know if they see an enemy. And they see the system as it, but I don't know if they see like the purveyors of it.
I don't think we're modeling the right behavior. I think that part of what is the challenge is that, I mean, even as y'all are talking, I'm like, haha, funny story. That's how they talked about us when we were kids, and everybody thought that we was about to be doing something.
But the thing about them is like, it's different in the sense that the system is now like a blob, where like they're literally surrounded by it. Whereas like even in our age, like we like came up like just before the internet, was like a thing.
Right.
Now like they're like I was reading like an article the other day, like we see like the ads in a day that our parents saw in like 25 years.
Wow.
Like that's the way that we're being like marketed to and like programmed and like pushed upon. Like there's ads like everywhere, like that like has an influence. So like they're literally surrounded by this, like you have to do like if you need like there's no escape. You look or a phone, like there's nowhere to go to like escape, and that makes it different. And I think that's why they haven't found the reason to fight, because they're literally surrounded.
Yeah.
Fact.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't the case for us.
Like when 9/11 happened, yeah, like you could do some research or whatever have you, but there was enough time for plausible deniability. COVID happened. It was like, so what happened? Oh shit! So this is what went down. Nah, it wasn't really a bat. This is what went down. Nah, I heard that it was a bat. You heard that from some stupid person online. This is what the article from the fucking Washington Journal or whatever is saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, read this. You know what I'm saying? The ones that are like that can read, and the ones that can't trust the ones that do. You know what I'm saying? And they're getting the tea. They know the shits. And they're literally looking at us, like you're saying, we're not modeling the behavior because we're not acting like the shits are as crazy as they are.
Yeah, at all. And it's toxic. And it also, I think for a lot of people, what they're going to do is they're going to see reformists. They're going to see reformists like AOC, for example, right? And it's so funny because it kind of breaks my heart a little bit because like, I don't hate her or anything like that. You know, I've understood that the staunch support I had for her is only like it only goes as far as supporting the actual bigger picture of what I hope would happen through revolution. It can only go as far as how she's willing to show up in that space, which is still abiding, you know, to a degree. It's still abiding to the rules, like, but in some ways abiding, right? But right. Like there's, so I understand that it's like, damn, we see that. And so marketing, to your point of like advertising stuff, does such a good job of like selling her in a way where we don't need to investigate or push her past where she's at. Right. Which is to say, I'm not going to go as far as saying that she doesn't secretly in her heart wish revolutionaries, but I feel like she's somebody who wants to be revolutionary, who's a full-blown reformist, for example. Right. But like if she was marketed or she would allow herself to show up and be very dead ass. And if everybody could show up and be very dead ass and all true colors can be put forth at the same time, then we can start to model the behavior of that, which I think is enough to begin to give people the guts and the energy to understand, well, then how do I hold true to or protect what I claim, right? And like, what does that actually look like? So what does it actually look like when a revolutionary somehow has a seat at a table with somebody in politics and they're having an actual debate and they're doing work, and learning that it's not that you have to go to college to the right school and get elected and run for office and that's going to be your best chance. It's saying there are alternative paths, and like, how much do we want to, in our generation, tackle and try these approaches that haven't been tried to inspire them to do the shit that maybe we won't have the time to do, or the decades around to really see through. But like, what can we be doing different instead of taking the things that seem slightly different and branding them as the ultimate different thing and still keeping us where the fuck we're at? Like, AOC is not the ultimate fucking radical, whatever. She's not. And I think in some ways she knows it, right? But like, where are we having the conversations? Who are we trying to work with? How are we trying to, if we're trying to,
I was going to say, y'all like y'all have to, and I mean, if you follow my page, people know that y'all is something like y'all, you just, if it don't apply, let it fly. Okay? Right. Y'all have to join in on the motherfucking slow clap. You ever tried to start a slow clap and nobody joined in with you? Mm-hmm. Y'all have to join in the motherfucking slow clap. If y'all not joining in, then like then what's being said? You will literally see people, and I'm sorry, this goes to all kinds of artist support and all kinds. This happens in all many manner of arena. Y'all will literally publicly be silent and roll up in the inbox like, oh my God, I agree with everything that you said. Mm-hmm. No. Excuse me? Put all of this shit in the comment section, my nigga. Share the motherfucking link and say it on a caption. Join the slow clap. I be so hyped when I see y'all two sharing one of my super long ass posts, and I'm like, damn, ain't nobody gonna read this. And I'm like, damn, at least I know y'all read it, and then y'all shared it because y'all know y'all was like, damn, this is a slow clap, and I gotta come in this because this is crazy. But then y'all meet resistance because them shits don't get no fucking engagement.
I'd be like, what is it about is it the algorithm that has something against your page specifically? I'm like, I know people who act like they fuck with what's being said here, but I haven't seen them like that, but they like that other dumb shit I shared. So what's happening?
Mm-hmm. It's the algorithm.
It's also people jacking shit that they not really jacking, because
I'm telling you,
really that. And I think it's more that than the algorithm. I think the algorithm actually has just learned from the behavior of how people jack shit. There's this book that I'm supposed to be reading soon called Dataclysm that talks about OkCupid and the science behind how basically people will put on their profile and big themselves up in a way about what they want. in a way that is so false because they never swipe to the truth of what they claimed they was open for. They never, it's almost like the majority of it, it's just not the truth. And so I feel like we as a society, especially with access to things like social media and a lot of the tools that we're saying these younger people have created the ability to lie harder and stronger and faster. And it's just, so I like, it's not that I don't believe that these kids don't have the potential to have more energy, like, you know, more radicalism or whatever. It's that I don't believe that they're in the right playpen to really execute it, and that they'll use all the tools and all the strongest ways, but be wrong and strong. So it's not that they won't be eloquent and fast and like, but they're gonna do it, and they're gonna feed the same fucking monster that we should be shooting and not.
But it won't even. I don't even think like these kids. Like, well, some of them, the smarter ones and the creative ones, you know what I'm saying? Like they are not going to go in it with the same delusion half of ours went into it with.
Agreed.
They're going to be like, okay, so is this what it is? Fine. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to go into it and be like, okay, like really, really fully choosing that individualism. And that's the part that scares me the most, because then that's what they're going to be spreading. See, and this is the part that people, I'm like,
I'm in a chill. I was like, ooh.
Said it so many. I was like, if things, you know what I'm saying, ripples become waves, yo, it's really crazy. Y'all gotta check what it is that you actually do. Like you said, that OkCupid thing, that happened because people are far more shallow than they care to admit. Y'all want to act deep, you know what I'm saying, but really you want somebody that looks like somebody that's not on OkCupid, okay? Yeah. But at the end of the day, people are not even trained in introspection. You had said something earlier, like how do we it was like how do we like just, it was just essentially how do we get it together? I would be interested in understanding how a person that was not trained in introspection and self-reflection becomes a person that self-reflects.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I could teach it. I can tell you that you need to self-reflect. I can tell you that you need to look in the mirror. I can tell you that, like, this is what it is that you are doing, you know? But if you don't, like, at some point take the time, I guess if I had to sum up self-reflection in a second, is, especially if you're coming at it from a post perspective, I guess, something happens. Look at the impact. Think about what your body did right before the impact. And then think about what it means to have done what it is that you did to yourself. Because if the impact is the desired result, then by all means either continue or figure out what that means in whatever situation you're having, right? But if the impact is not what it is that you want, then maybe you don't have the self-awareness to have impact. Really, to truly have impact. Maybe you don't know yourself.
Which is, it is literally part of the thesis of what I'm building right now, by the way. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's almost like as a reformist, as a true reformist, right, I'm somehow trying to covertly give, like, a practice that I really believe in, but through the realms and the system of, you know, the economy and building a company and, like, doing the things, you know, because, and in some ways it's because I feel defeated and there's only so many IG videos and heartfelt things and poems that I can write that some people really get, right? They see, they get, and they land because they're already in practice in some way though. You know what I mean? Like, but the people who aren't, it's kind of like, damn, how do you, it's almost like, I dare say, how do you gamify it so people can do it? And even if it begins unconsciously, and then once the behavior starts to foster in a bit that
I'm saying, and you know what? I know the answer. It's gotta look rich. It's gotta look rich.
Yeah.
It's gotta look rich. Yeah. It's gotta look rich.
Yeah.
And I've been knew that answer, and it's ridiculous, and it's come to me in so many ways. You saw the post that I had made about, you know what I'm saying, just being a femme bitch out in these streets with a beard. It's like, if it don't look expensive, nobody want to see you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You know, this might not be a lace front, but in this motherfucking camera,
yeah,
she's trying to, like, she wants some motherfucking money. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's you know what I'm saying? Like, it has to present as affluent, And when and the only way to get that done is for those artists or those people, those platforms to get support. And it's unfortunate because people, there's so many obstacles to it, because what we're doing is a serious thing, and we can be funny with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, clearly, we've keyed mad times. You know, you can be funny with it. It can be funny, but the second you stop laughing and you think about what you were just laughing about, you're like, oh shit. But wait a minute, like, it's actually quite heavy, and most people don't want to deal with that. There's this Daria quote that Pat used to be like, "This is you. This is me. Jane is me trying to explain to you what's happening to you in the world." And it's essentially Jane being like, it was the episode where somebody died, and they kept trying to come to Daria to just talk to her about like random existential shit that they would never come to talk to her about before. And she was like, "What the fuck are they doing? Like, I don't even talk to these people. What's happening?" And she's like, "Well,
you think, Daria. We know you think because you don't smile."
It's like, so I want to like put all this thinking on you, so like I don't have to think. You know what I'm saying? Essentially anymore. Like, let's think together so that I can go about my like day not thinking. People don't self-reflect.
Yeah. Oof. And then, like, you know, and I'll end us on this. I think that the real tea that I feel like I've picked up on during these past 2 years in being in the practice of self-reflecting and really questioning, like, all right, once upon a time, Julissa thought she was going to be mayor of New York City and that would be the greatest honor because she could enact change, right? That was me in middle school, right? And now I'm in the place where I'm like, you know, if motherfuckers really understood their third eyes, and if we really looked past all of this shit and went a level deeper now, that's the conversation to have, right? But are we ready? No, that's like that's a whole world that people aren't ready to tackle and get into. But it's getting, I feel like I'm getting worn down to the point where sometimes I'm like, yeah, if it ain't about this, then I'm not with it. But then I get stuck in the part of like, but then how do I survive in this world if I'm not? And so I just, you know, again, encourage people to just reflect, own your pussiness. That's where you at. I certainly am standing here in full pussy. And pussy can be powerful, right? But like when it's used in particular ways, and like it's okay that you're afraid, and sometimes, and that's natural, right? But like, how are you going to move past that fear? How are you going to use that energy of the fear to do something else? Is a question that people can be reflecting on, and in the best way possible, even if you still end up being reformist, aka still being pussy. How could you be the best, most supportive pussy, the most lubricant, wet, dripping, soaking and fulfilling the people who aren't pussy,
symbiotic,
right? How do we do it? And I think that's the question we need to be having, and not just reposting shit and not just.
Hold on, we can't hear you. Our headphones.
Oh no, I can hear. I can hear.
Yeah, like we just need to get with the shits. And keep it
there's
real.
There's one thing. Oh shit! I just had it. There's one thing that can be done. There is this internal thing that I feel like most reformists are secretly, and I'm going to bust the lid over it because it's too late at this point. It's either too late or y'all are right in some respect, right? In this secret thing. There is a signal y'all are waiting for.
Yeah.
Y'all have to also be solid in your leadership enough, at least those of you that are close enough to revolutionary that you know that you're leaders. Be solid in your leadership enough to know when you have to give the signal. You can't only be waiting. You have to see the opportunity. Because the signal is not going to be something that we can, you know what I'm saying? They said the revolution won't be televised. That's what that means. Right. All of the idea that, you know, the revolution won't be seen on TV, that might have been the case when that quote was made and that poem was spit. Whoa there. We're going to see it. It's going to be on Facebook Live, IG Live, everywhere. We're going to see the motherfucker, okay? The issue is the signal is not going to be something that we can say or do, or like it's going to be like a freaking flare in the sky. That's not how the signal is going to come. We're all going to have to see the opportunity and almost simultaneously be like charge together at the same time and then go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for the reformists that are so pussy that they don't know that they're leaders, be okay to follow the people that are saying charge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's for your benefit.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I love that. And I love that. And like for people who are like, no, there are better ways, I always, you know, I think what happened to the Black Panther Party is such a tragedy, right? Like in the way the government was able to like whatever, because I think that also enacted a level of fear where it's kind of like they made a particular kind of example that people are like, we will never not get killed. We will never not get killed. We will never not get killed. And that's the bed that people lay on. They don't want to die for it. But at least be willing to say, well, you ain't trying to die for it. So be mindful then in that truth. Be mindful of how you yapping and contributing and involving yourself in shit. Because what are you really doing? And what are you really like? What's really the point of all that other shit if we can accept this truth, right? Can we unravel ourselves from media and the noise if we can accept what the truth is and then just accept that we're not fighting against it? But also, do we need to participate as deeply as we participate? Maybe not.
Right.
Maybe not. And maybe those are the areas of opportunity. So I just want to thank you guys so much for being here today. And just like we went like well over time, but I think that it was time well spent. And I think that, you know, like I said, like y'all voices for me are so influential that I think every minute of this is valuable. And I'm happy to have it be at length. So for those who tuned in and stuck through it, I really do hope that you learned a shit ton and that you followed these two beautiful folks. And by the way, where can we find you?
We are on Facebook at facebook.com/the Anvkai Tree. We're on IG at Anvkai Tree. That's ANVKAI. It's once you know how to spell it, it's not as tricky. And we're also available wherever podcasts are streaming. You can check us out. And our podcast videos, we do it live, so we're also on YouTube. You can check those videos out at Anvkai Tree Podcast on YouTube. So.
Yep. And for the music, Jip Jack everywhere. And that's that.
Yes.
GYPJAQ is the only person in the world.
It's been great being here. Thank you guys so much.
Thank y'all so much. It's good seeing y'all faces. I miss y'all.
Yeah.
Skittles, we need another show, bitch, at $3.
We're gonna do it. For sure. I gotta fucking edit the footage from the first one first.
I'm trying to see.
No, we definitely gotta do it.
And where can they find us, Skittles?
And you guys can find us at Ladies Who Brunche on Instagram, Ladies Who Brunche on Facebook, Ladies Brunche on Twitter, at Julissa with an H on Instagram for Julissa, and at The Real Skittles with a Z for me on IG.
Yes. Thank you all so very much for listening in. And until next time, brunche.